the stand. Now he runs. He produces a magic print. He pulls out another one. This is incredible. This is ridiculous. This is 15 out of 10 on the incredible meter. What a player. What an entertainer. Give him the medal. Give him the Delier medal.
Hello, footy fans, and welcome back to the Chip and Chase podcast. We're back once again. Round 2 is drawing upon us. So, of course, we're going to go through and do our previews for this week's matches, starting with the Thursday game taking place tonight, and then we're going to combine that with the 2 Friday games just into one video. You know, we'll be back probably tomorrow or the next day to go through the Saturday game previews, and then, of course, we'll get the Sunday ones in a separate video as well. So, just the 3 podcast previewing games. If you're looking for your other content, that's later on in the week. But of course, we're going to get started, get right into it. The Thursday game for this week is the Broncos and Rabbitohs, taking place at 8 p.m. at Suncorp Stadium. So it's a Broncos home game. Both these clubs, you know, teams that are very much predicted for that top 8 and, you know, maybe even top 4 finish. Well, especially a top 4 finish in case of Broncos. They're ranked 12th and 13th after round 1. Both teams suffering losses in Vegas. So both teams are, you know, going to be looking to redeem themselves out here in round 2. But coming into Brisbane is going to be a hard ask for the Rabbitohs. And, you know, just off the bat, that is my tip for the round. I think the Broncos are going to be too good for the Rabbitohs in this one. I think, you know, maybe if it was in Sydney, there'd be a different story, but I will be tipping the Broncos for this one. Definitely a close game, I think. I don't think it'll be too, you know, far away, or at least I think the Rabbitohs will at least be able to put a fair few points on the board in this one. But yeah, the way I sort of see this one playing out is just that home crowd in Brisbane. I think they're going to get this Broncos team over the line. Obviously, as I said, both these teams, a lot to play for. They're going to be out to redeem themselves. Expectations are quite high for both of these teams. You know, losing in Vegas is a tough start for both of them. So there's going to be a lot of passion, and it's a game that I'm really excited for. I think it's one of the better games of the week this round, and, you know, to kick it off underway, it's definitely a good start to the week for round 2. You'd notice, maybe you wouldn't, but I didn't do a team list video this week. I have sort of decided maybe I'll back off them a little bit, just because, look, if you're doing a dedicated video to that, a lot of the time you're reading through the same team lists. If you look through the round 2 team list, there was not many changes at all. Of course, you know, we get the Tigers team, which was named, which we didn't get to see in round 1. They had that bye. So, you know, there's a lot of news there. But that's something that I think the best way to sort of cover that content is just going through on these previews and just touching on them. As I said, I won't be reading through 1 to 17 or 1 to 23 of these teams, but I will go over notable ins and outs for every game, every team in all of my previews from now on. But when it comes to these 2 teams, in the Broncos and the Rabbitohs, there is not too much to note on. The Broncos have essentially named the exact same team, the only difference being that Martin Tapau is on the bench this time, with Corey Jensen getting the start. As we know, Marty Tapau started over in Vegas. Brendan Piakora, who was named for the Vegas game, not Brendan Piakora, sorry, Xavier Willison, who was named for the Vegas games, dropped out, as we know, and he is once again listed among the reserves in this one. But just on Brendan Piakora, circling back, obviously knocked out in those Vegas games, pretty nasty head knock there. He's been named and he's expected to line up at second row in this one, so that's really good, especially if you're a super coach player like myself who owns him. Yeah, definitely someone I'm really excited to see back in action and just to get, you know, some actual game time under his belt. So that's a good one there. But not too much more to note with this Broncos team. They're pretty much a full-strength lineup heading into this game. As for the Rabbitohs, there's also not too much to note. The big one here is that Jai Arrow has, of course, gone down with that, I believe, the shoulder injury. He's looking at 4 to 6 weeks sort of injury if he elects to not go surgery. If he does go surgery, it could be a season-ending injury. By the sounds of it, they're just going to try and get him through it, manage him through that, and do some work there and hope to avoid surgery. But his replacement is Tallis Duncan. He's been named at second row to replace him. I am hearing, though, that Cameron Murray is going to spend a little bit of time in that second row position. It's sort of getting more and more. Those whispers are growing louder and louder by the minute. But both these players are pretty adept. They're both almost carbon copies of each other. So I expect them to sort of interchange to that position. It's also good to note that Jacob Host also missing from this side, another one who dropped out. So there's that one there. I believe those are all the changes for the Rabbitohs. Looking over what I can see here, it looks pretty stock standard. Shaq Mitchell also coming into the team on the bench there, named in number 16. So yeah, not too much to note. Still very strong Rabbitohs team. But yeah, circling back, as I said, I think Broncos at home going to be too strong with this one. I think it should be a really entertaining game to watch. I don't expect the Broncos to, run away with it. They very much could because they are a very attacking team. But I like how these teams line up across the board, really. You got the excitement of Reece Walsh and Latrell Mitchell. You got the speed on the wings with Alex Johnston and Dean Mariner. You've got the exciting halves of Cody Walker, Ezra Mann. It's just, I really like how it all lines up. Of course, Adam Reynolds, even he's another one to note, going up against his former club, Lachlan Ilias, the man who replaced him in that jersey. Yeah, I really, really like this game. In terms of a matchup, those ones I just named, there's a lot to go through there. I like all of those, but for me, it's got to be the battle of the lock forwards. If Murray does, probably start in that jersey. I think Paddy Carrigan, Cameron Murray, I'd say they're amongst the top 3 best locks in the NRL, probably sharing that with Isaiah Yeo. And they're 2 of my favourite players in the game, so I'm really excited to see that battle there. I think, what a game to start this round with. Very, very exciting stuff. So that's the matchup I'm looking forward to. Paddy Carrigan, Cameron Murray, the lock forward duel there. In terms of bets, the little multi I have on in this one, of course, I do my betting through Sportsbet. I am not affiliated with Sportsbet in any way. They're just the agency that I choose to bet through. So just want to put that out there, that warning out there. But the multi I've put on this one was, I've got the Rabbitohs. I've done pick your own line. The line was about 7.5 points for the Rabbitohs and Broncos, which I'm not sure. I think it might be a little bit more than that. So I've given the Rabbitohs a plus 12.5, which is about $1.50 leg, which, is still better than just picking the Broncos team outright. So Rabbitohs with a plus 12.5 line. I've got Brendan Piakura to redeem himself after that head knock and come out and score a try. So he's my anytime try scorer leg in this multi. And I've got the match going over 41.5 total match points. Definitely could go under. But, these 2 teams, absolute freaks in attacking football. So I'm fairly confident in that leg getting up, if nothing else. So, yeah, that's the bet I've got in this one. If you're looking for any other anytime try scorers, I believe Cameron Murray is in $9. Obviously not the most noted try scorer. But if he ends up finding himself in a second row position, definitely value in $9. That's a lot to be paying. And, yeah, if you're running off a half in that second row position, you're more likely to sneak over for a try. So I don't mind that, but that is, a bit out there. If you want a bit lower odds, you can look at the halves. I like Cody Walker. Had a pretty poor game in my eyes in that Vegas game, and I'm sure in his eyes as well. So he'll be looking to redeem himself. I don't mind him as an anytime try scorer. I also don't mind Tony Staggs he's the right centre, so he'll be up against, I think, Isaiah Tass. It could be Richie Kenner, though. I'm not really sure how this Rabbitohs backline lines up, but I don't mind the look of Tony Staggs for an anytime try scorer as well. And if you wanted to, of course, the fullbacks, one of them's got to score, surely. Maybe both, who knows? But yeah, the one I've gone with in my bet is Brendan Piakura. But yeah, of course, wrapping all that up, I've got Broncos winning this one. I've got Brendan Piakura as a anytime try scorer. And yeah, what an exciting way to open this round 2. But we won't spend any more time on this game, so we'll move into the first of the Friday games, which of course is the Sharkies and the Bulldogs, taking place 6 p.m. at PointsBet Stadium in Sydney. So it's a Sharkies home game. Sharkies, of course, getting the win over the Warriors in round 1. So they're ranked 8th at the moment. Bulldogs down in 15th. Not too much to sort of note for the Sharkies. They haven't really made too many changes. Toby Rudolph has been named to run on this time instead of Royce Hunt, who has been dropped to the bench. Still a part of the team. So that's the only sort of moves that have been made for the Sharkies there. While in the Bulldogs territory, Josh Adokar has been ruled out of this game with I think it was another shoulder injury. I think it might have been an AC joint injury for Josh Adokar. So they've replaced him with their new recruit of Connor Tracy, another player I'm such a big fan of. And it will be interesting to note whether Connor actually stays on the wing or if he does a bit of a swap with Jacob Kiraz and Kiraz slides out there. Kiraz, of course, a prominent winger in this Bulldogs team, and he took over that position of Josh Adokar in the last game that they played. So a bit of note there. But regardless, you're a better team for having Connor Tracy in it. What a weapon of a player. Not too much more to note for that Bulldogs team. They're pretty stock standard from what they named in round one. But the way I sort of see this one playing out, I'm going to go with another favourite here. I'm going to go for the home team, the Sharkies. And look, I think they could do a number on them. I think the way they played against that Warriors was very gritty. And I think they were out to prove that they can beat the top teams in the NRL. Warriors obviously a top 4 team from 2023. That's been a criticism of the Sharks for a long time, whether or not they can beat those top 4 teams. And they did it in a way that they aren't known for, in that gritty sort of fashion. Now I think they're going to come out in front of their home faithful, and I think they're going to put on a score on a Bulldogs team. They're still very much finding their feet. A lot of new signings for this Bulldogs team. So I do have the Sharkies winning this one. I have them winning it 13 plus in terms of a bet, which we may as well get into now. The legs for my bet, as I said, Cronulla Sharks 13 plus is the first leg of this multi. Nico Hines, I've got as an anytime try scorer. Did not have his best attacking game last week, but of course came up with some incredible defensive plays that essentially sealed the win for the Sharkies. I think he's going to be out to prove himself once again, and he'll put on a great attacking clinic, and I think that involves him scoring a try. That's my prediction for this one. However, I do have the game going, I might have stuffed up here. I have gone, the bet's already been placed, but I have put it on for under 40.5 match points. Not what I would be doing normally. My actual bet there for anyone following along would be over 40.5 match points. I think Sharks can run away with it. And I think, they're still, while they did come up with a really gritty game and gritty defense against that Warriors team in round one, I think they are still very capable of leaking points. And I think the Bulldogs might find a way to sneak a few tries on them and a few points on them. So, if my bet gets up for the under, I'll pretend that's what I intended to do the entire time. But yeah, that's the sort of way I see this one. Playing out for the Sharkies and the Bulldogs, I think, Sharks, I'm pretty confident they come away with it. But hey, I got half my tips right in week one. So maybe take whatever I say with a grain of salt, guys. In terms of any other try scorers for this one, Connor Tracy for the Bulldogs, I'm not sure what value he's at. I can't imagine it's too high. I really like him as an anytime try scorer. I also don't mind the idea of Matt Burton. I believe it's his 100th game. No, it might be his birthday. Anyway, it's a little bit of a milestone with Matt Burton. I also think there's a lot of pressure on him. There's in the media a lot over the offseason, whether he's a 5'8", the centre, what's the best position for him. I think maybe he's going to come out and prove me wrong. I'm pretty sure I also mentioned him a bit in my matchups last week. I think my matchup last week was him and Dill Brown. Him and Dill Brown, I believe. But in terms of matchups this week, let's have a quick scan through. I don't mind the idea of Jacob Preston, who's a right side, so he'll be defending against Britton Nikora. That is one of my favourites. Even in saying that, I don't mind the second row duels in general. Kickout Preston and Nikora in Wilton. That's pretty good for me. I really like that matchup. You can look at the hookers, Blake Brayley and Reid Marnie, two of the only hookers left in the NRL that are 80-minute hookers, so they might be out to just prove each other. And beyond that, I also like the work in the centres. You have Jesse Ramian, who we all know I'm a massive fan of, and CSF Talakai versus Jacob Kiraz and Stephen Crichton. If you look at Kiraz and Talakai, very much the workhorses of these teams coming out of their own end in the back line. And then you've got a bit of pizzazz in Stephen Crichton and Jesse Ramian. So I really like those sort of duels across there. But yeah, another exciting game. The more I look at it, I really like it and I'm really excited for it. Maybe I was a bit apprehensive in saying that the Sharks will win this one 13 plus, but I'm going to back my gut in and stick to that. But I wouldn't be surprised if Bulldogs make this a bit closer. They could come out and win it, but it's definitely not my pick for this game. Alas, we will move on. We won't spend too much more time on that. I just see the the Sharkies being too strong across the board. I think they've got a better forward pack, especially if their front rowers come off, they just replace them with maybe not even better ones, but equally as good ones. So, yeah, that's how I see them winning this. Of course, we've said it a million times, the Dogs are a bit thin through that middle. I think the Sharks will be sure to expose that, and Nico will play off the back of it and throw a few points on for this Sharkies team. But we will move on to the final game of the Friday, which arguably the game of the round. We have the Panthers and the Parramatta Eels taking place at 8 p.m. at Bluebet Stadium in Penrith. It's interesting to note, Panthers, the three-time defending premiers, 11th on the ladder at the moment, of course, going down in round 1 to the Melbourne Storm, while the Eels are currently sitting in third, sitting pretty up the top of the ladder. And we know this team. This is the grudge match. The two teams, they hate each other, these guys. The grand final from 2 years ago. And the Eels have sort of had a mocker over the Panthers. I believe I saw a stat from Random Stats Guy that they have the best record with about a 47 win percentage against the Panthers over across the entire premiership sort of winning years with the Penrith Panthers. The Eels are the best team to beat them. They get away with a few wins here and there, and they always make it a gritty and just a really good game to watch. As we saw with the Panthers in round 1, they're still finding their feet a bit with their new combinations. They lose so many players each year. I'm sure they're out to redeem themselves, but this Eels side, they look like they've come out with so much self-belief. They think they can win a premiership, and the way that they played in round 1, they could very well be gunning for that. They're going to be out here to put a number on the Panthers and show that they are that team that can beat them. They do it consistently, and I'm really excited for this matchup. I think it is the game of the round for sure. In terms of a bet for this one, the multi I have put on... Oh, sorry. While I'm here, I guess I didn't mention the odds of the multis beforehand. Sorry about that. But the Rabbitohs Broncos multi is at $14.25. So if you're putting $1 on that, you win $14.25 back. The Sharkies multi against the Bulldogs was at $16.50. Same deal there. If you're putting $1 on that, you're winning $16.50 back. But now, back on into this Penrith Panthers Parramatta Eels multi. I've got the Parramatta with a plus 7.5 line. That is just the normal line. I haven't alternatively done that. That's the line that Sportsbet has given to us for this matchup. I don't mind that at all. I think if they are to lose this, it will be a very close game. I don't think it's going to be more than 6 points that they lose this game if they are to lose it. I've got Dylan Brown again as an anytime try scorer, doubling down. I chose him as my try scorer last week for the Eels. He didn't get it done, but I'm going to back him in again in this one. And I've got the match to go under 35.5 match points. So a bit risky. That's essentially meaning if both teams scored 18 points, that bet goes down. But from what time has told us about these clubs, they're normally really low-scoring and gritty affairs between these two teams. So I don't mind that as a little leg, under 35.5 match points. So the odds of that multi come to $17.75. I have actually boosted that to a $20 odds, but the normal odds of that bet currently when recording this are 17.75. So once again, if you're putting $1 on that, you win 17.75 back if it gets up. Remember, you are gambling. You're more probably or not, you are going to lose. That's how gambling works. So only bet what you can afford to lose. Don't go stupid with it. Gambling should just be for a little bit of fun and only if you can afford to do it. Don't be betting more than you can afford to lose, guys. Once again, this is all through the Sportsbet app. Some of these markets will not be available, and even if they are available, maybe the odds are completely different through other betting agencies. Sportsbet is just who I choose to bet through. So if you wanted to follow along, please do it through the Sportsbet app and make sure you're gambling responsibly. But yeah, that's the multi I have on for this one. I just think, I'm not really sure how this one plays out. I think it will be a really gritty, grindy, low-scoring affair between these two teams. I think it'll be better footy played than that Storm Panthers opener, which wasn't my favourite game to watch. I think these two games have a lot more of a venom and animosity towards each other, which will just make it more entertaining. So I'm really excited to see this one. I'm probably going to tip Oh, am I going to tip? You know what? No. I'm going to tip the Eels to win the game. So if you just wanted to place a bet on that, I think they're about $3 odds, which is ridiculous. Like, they're currently higher on the ladder. They, more often than not, well, not more often than not, but they win games against Penrith. They do it more than any other team in the NRL. Not bad odds. Yeah, I'm going to tip the Parramatta Eels to get it done. They looked so confident in their abilities and so confident in themselves and their team. Well, the Panthers definitely still finding their feet. So I'm going to tip the Eels to win this one for my tipping comp. But the way I see it playing out, who knows really? I think we've seen it in the past that these two forward packs, they hate each other. They go at each other all day. And it's some of the best forward duels out there with Leota and Fisher Harris against Junior Paulo and Regan Campbell-Gillard. I love that. I actually love that we've got Mitch Kenny and Joey Lussick as the hooker duel. Two players who are very much, not superstars of two superstar teams, but they do their work. They get their job done. Good service from dummy half and good defense. I love that. I just look across the board. It's fantastic. I even love Jaman Hopgood against Isaiah Yeo. Of course, Jaman being a Penrith junior, getting across here to the Eels and showing him the world that he is an absolute superstar. Look, really, really excited for this game of footy as well, guys. So, yeah, I've tipped the Eels, but look, it could go either way. If you're looking for any just normal anytime try scorers, just outside of the multi, of course you can go with the Dylan Brown one that I've shouted. I don't mind any of the halves in this game. Mitchell Moses should be paying pretty high as well. I don't mind Nathan Cleary. He seems to be running the ball a lot more. He's so confident in himself, knowing he's the best player in the world, essentially. He could definitely cross, and he'll be looking to take it upon himself to win this game. I also don't mind Jerome Luai into his final season with the Panthers. A lot of criticisms, as there always have been, about Jerome. He just goes about his business, and he's such a live wire. He could definitely cross on this one. While if you're looking for something that's a little bit more, likely, I suppose, Sean Russell's at about $3, and I think that's really good value. Of course, I'm a massive fan of Sean Russell, and, on the wing, tries come to wingers, especially when you're getting yourself involved. So, yeah, if I had to see how this one plays out, I think it's just going to be a gritty battle through the forward pack, and whatever one just gets a roll on, they might just go on to win this. I've sat here and said I'm tipping the Eels, but in no way am I confident that they do come away off the win. They are versing the Penrith Panthers after all. So that sort of concludes us right then and there for the matches of the Thursday and Friday games. Of course, we'll be back in a day or two to sort of do a bit of a preview over these Saturday games, and then we'll wrap up the 2 Sunday games in another podcast as well. So thank you guys for tuning into this one. Let me know what you guys think. Of course, if you're not following me over on the Instagram, please go and do so. Gives you more of a chance to interact with me and just engage with content that I'm not covering on all of my podcasts. So over there at Instagram at Chip and Chase Podcast. And that'll do us. So thank you guys for tuning into this one, and I'll see you guys next time.